Welcome to FBB Forum. My name is David, and this podcast is dedicated to all the amazing muscle ladies and female bodybuilders. Thank you for all your support and great feedback. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe to the FBB Forum Instagram page and subscribe to the YouTube page as well. I'm very pleased to welcome the stunning IFBB Pro women's physique athlete, Stacey Lewis, to the podcast. Stacy most recently competed at the Omaha Pro show on June 8th, and I had a brief interview with her there. And she brought a big hometown crowd with her from Iowa to cheer for her. Stacy earned her pro card at the 2022 North Americans, and in 2023 competed at the Omaha Pro and the St. Louis Pro. And now stay tuned to find out where she's going to compete next. Welcome, Stacy. It's great to have you here.
Hi, it's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. You said this is one of your first interviews, right?
It is, yeah, kind of exciting.
Oh, very cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on with me. And it was great to speak with you at Omaha, as I mentioned.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice getting to know you.
Thank you. Now, I was curious in terms of getting started in bodybuilding, did you have an athletic or a sports background before you started?
I actually, I played volleyball in high school, and then throughout college, I was always been active and outside, and I've always done either running or CrossFit type stuff, or always lifted. So I've always had that kind of athletic background and enjoyed doing sports and being physical.
How did you end up get started in bodybuilding?
Like I said, I've always lifted, and it was one of those things where over the years, people would always ask me, "Do you compete? Do you compete?" And I was like, "No, I could never do that." So finally, though, I mean, just everything aligned right. And it was like, well, you know what? Enough people have asked me this. Maybe that's a sign. And so I just kind of gave it a shot and have been hooked ever since.
What year did you start competing?
I started competing in 2018.
2018. Oh, very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. So you got your pro card 4 years later.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
which division did you start with? Did you do women's physique at the time?
Nope. I started in figure.
Mm.
And then actually only did that literally probably just 1 year. And then I switched over to physique. And
Oh, very
it
cool.
was kind of ironic. They had told me that I could do physique when I started, but I was like, oh, no, those girls are so big. I was just like, it seems so unattainable to me, but your coaches kind of know, they see what your potential is and they see your body type. And so, yeah, so after a year, I did switch.
Oh, very cool. That's great. Yeah, I think you made the right move too, because you do look really good on stage. And one thing I like about physique is that you get to really flex, and show some creativity too with your routine. So do you
Right.
do you like doing the posing routine and everything?
Um, I have grown to like it. Yes. Initially, it was very hard for me. I say I'm athletic, but I don't cheer. I don't tumble. um, I'm not very dance coordinated. So they're kind of hard for me at first, but I've actually created my last two routines myself. And I think that kind of helps because, I know what I'm comfortable with. I know what suits me. Um, so I'm getting more comfortable. It's like last year, we have 2 minute time span to use. I
Yeah.
was I used 1 minute and was happy to get off stage.
Oh, I
This
see.
year I've used my 2 minutes and a couple seconds more, So I mean, you do get into a groove and you get more comfortable with it. So yeah, it's getting there. At some point, it'll probably evolve and I will have to step it up and get more, even probably get maybe even a routine coach. But at this point, I've just kind of done it on my own.
Sure, I understand. Yeah. I think it makes a difference to practice posing early too, and not just a few weeks out from the show, but even maybe several weeks out.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's almost a year-round thing. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't particularly care for posing when I'm not lean and
yeah,
you can't see, much, but it's definitely helpful, beneficial.
yeah. I think that practice is important.
Yeah, yeah.
I was curious, do you have a fitness role model that you look up to?
You know what? Of course, I've got a couple of my favorite, IFBB pros that I like to watch, but honestly, what I'm inspired by are, our para athletes. I think I watch them, like for instance with the Olympics, I mean, the Olympics are amazing, lots of great athletes, but the following week when they do all the Paralympics, those are the people that inspire me. Those are the people that, I can't even fathom what they've gone through to get where they are. And
Yeah,
they've overcome challenges that, all of us who are in good health, despite an injury here or there, I mean, to speak of, I mean, they are truly the inspiration, I mean, it's like if they can do it, I can do this.
uh, I
So
agree with you on
that's
that.
kind of, I mean, I just have to think about any number of them. And that gives you some drive when you kind of want to call it, call it a day.
Yeah, they are very inspirational. One thing I noticed watching the USA trials for the Olympics is they've been running an ad, maybe two ads that are feature the Paralympics, and it's really cool because it is very inspiring and it's really interesting to see, and it kind of grabs your attention too.
It does, and I'm glad they're doing that because I do feel like sometimes they're overlooked a little bit, I mean, everybody after the Olympics kind of tunes out,
Mhm.
but it's like, and I know it's not broadcast quite, as broadly, but it's like it's still out there and you can still watch them, and it's awe-inspiring for sure.
It is. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Now, I was curious, was it tough for you to get up on stage in a bikini for the first time? Was it kind of nerve-wracking? And do you get nervous these days on stage?
Yeah, yes, of course it was the very first time. The whole process the very first time is kind of nerve-wracking and a huge learning curve. But all the way from, you know, wearing the suits and just getting in them properly and glued in and the tanning. I mean, it's all a huge learning curve. But yeah, again, it's kind of one of those things you get more and more used to it, and it doesn't really phase you anymore. So
I
that,
understand.
yeah, a lot of times you're just excited if you have a new suit to wear or so.
And it's pretty exciting on stage too, isn't it? I imagine.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just being up there with everybody, and there's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of camaraderie, but there's a lot of competition.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, I bet. But I do find it seems like there's that kind of iron sisterhood, and the competitors are pretty close, it seems like, and
Uh,
backstage.
Right, for sure. Like, I mean, even like, there's everybody's very supportive backstage and, looking out for each other. And I mean, I think even at this last Omaha show, um, I'm not exactly sure the details of it, but something happened with somebody's suit, and then another competitor actually helped and loaned them a spare that they had brought with them. So
Oh,
everybody is there
wow.
to kind of help each other. It's pretty amazing.
That is really
So
cool.
yeah,
I remember that happened to Michaela Aycock a few years back where her suit was stolen in Atlanta,
yeah,
or her backpack was stolen with a suit in it. So yeah,
yeah.
but
No,
somebody
not
helped her
not
out.
good. Not
Huh?
good. Not good.
No, not good at all. But you're right. Somebody helped her out and gave her a suit, a backup suit. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, that's not good. Um, so what was your experience like at Omaha Pro, and did you enjoy the show? Like I said, I was really pleased to get to meet you in person at that show.
Yeah, I mean, Jack and Ann Titoni run an amazing show. Really well run, good to the athletes. So yeah, the show was great. This show this year had a lot of really good competitors. A lot of them that, you know, fit the division really well. So yeah, it was a great show, good competition, and it's good to stand up there with those women and see, that you can be with them, but yet, how you can improve and what the possibilities are, So it was a great show.
One thing I liked about it was the highest number of competitors yet, because some of those St. Louis and another one had like 3 competitors each, so I was really pleased that, more ladies came and showed out for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's always tough. You just never know where people are and their timing and of, just show prep. And, it's just a hard thing to gauge. You just never know like they say, you never know who's going to be there.
That's
It's
true.
kind of a gamble from one year to the next, so,
Yeah,
but
that's true. Yeah, I remember at Optimum, the show prior to that had 7, and then it went up to 13 for Omaha. So, and then I think M Pro had like 15 or 16. So it's definitely the numbers are going up, which
yeah,
as a fan, it's good to see because yeah, you don't want shows going away because of lack of
yeah,
competitors.
right. Exactly. But
Yeah. Um so where do you hope to compete next?
right now the plan is the Chicago Pro in about 4.5 weeks.
Great.
Um, yeah, so that'll be my first time there. So we'll see how that goes. That's a pretty big show. They've got masters and an open division and an NPC show tacked onto it all. So it's a pretty big weekend.
And is that are you gonna do Masters and Open?
Nope, I think I'm gonna try to stick with open one, see how it goes yet. I'm not quite willing to hang up the hat there.
Sure.
So give it a whirl yet. I think I've, still, I honestly feel like I still have room to improve and improvements that are possible and doable. So I mean, I think that's still a good fit for me at this time.
That's great. Yeah, very cool. I was curious, have you done master shows before?
No, I haven't
No?
done one yet.
Very cool. That's great. Yeah. Um, and I know the problem with masters is you actually have to pay, don't you? I mean, there's like an entry fee.
At the pro level, um, I'm not even sure since I haven't looked into it. Um,
I
well,
think you
that
do
tells
have to
me
pay it an extra fee for it.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Which is I don't yeah, I think it deters some women from competing in that, but but yeah, no, that's cool about doing open though.
It might, but the thing is, though, I mean, I think some of the masters too, though, I mean, those women are, I mean, there is definitely something to be said about mature muscle. I mean, those
Yeah.
athletes are no less than anybody that you'll see in the open. They're just as competitive, just as hard. I mean, again, there's definitely something to be said and appreciated with developed mature muscle.
Yeah, that's true. I was really
So
pleased that Masters Olympia came back last year and hoping it'll come back this year.
yeah, yeah, that was good.
Do you think you maybe apply for that one? Maybe that would be good.
Maybe I might. That's always an option. I'm open.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 50.
50? Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm 50 also. So yeah, you look great.
Perfect.
Um, now, where did you earn your pro card? And I bet that was an exciting experience for you, but I actually mentioned it during my intro, but tell us again where you got your pro card.
So I won my pro card 2 years ago at the North Americans in 2022. And yeah, that was a big show too. It was just exciting. It was good. I mean, it was one of those times though when you kind of go in and everything feels right. I mean, honestly, that was the first and only time since then that has happened, but that's just when everything's right and things are going to pan out good. It's just a certain feeling you have. You're confident with your look, you've done everything you could, and it's just, so it was a really good show and it paid off. It was good.
That's terrific. Yeah, but I've heard that's a really good show. And that was 2022. With
Yes.
that, so still kind of during COVID times. Was that the one where they had it in the tent outside or?
No, Nope.
No, okay.
I've
I-
heard about that though.
That was kind of weird having it out there in the tent, and the lighting was not
I
great up there.
can imagine the heat.
Yeah, I bet it was hot out there too. Yeah. And yeah, that was what time of year is that? July or no?
That one is North Americans is usually, gosh, when was that? You would ask me that. I feel like that was maybe September, the beginning of September, maybe.
Okay.
I feel like I felt like I think I remember having to miss a little work for that because I was already back I work in the school district, so I had to take some days off of my summer was over and I had to take off days of work to go.
Oh,
So,
sure. I understand. Yeah. That paid off though. It was good for you to go.
oh yeah, for sure. But
Um, no, very cool. Now I was curious, have the judges given you any feedback on where you need to improve your physique or your presentation?
yeah, for sure. Like in Omaha, I was able to speak with the judge and head judge, and yeah, I got some good recommendations, good suggestions. You know, just a lot of it about and thankfully some of it will be pretty easy fixes. I think a lot of it will be diet. You know, kind of looking a little too flat, needing to be fuller and thicker looking. So a
Hmm.
lot of that will that's that's easier to change than if they were saying I was underdeveloped somewhere.
Hmm.
Because it's just a matter of some diet changes. So hopefully I can make those changes. A little bit of um constructive criticism on, quads and stuff. So that will have to be, that'll have to come down to putting in another off season. But, hopefully, hopefully with a little bit more full look, some of that will tighten up and come in a little better. But, that's definitely a long-term goal to build those out a little more.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think it's great to get that feedback if you can from the judges, because they're willing to help you and they're willing to listen to what you need to improve upon. And
Right. Yeah, it definitely gives guidance and something to put you in the right direction. So,
hmm, it maybe helps too that there was just the one pro division at Omaha. You didn't have like 500 bikini girls and you're waiting in line.
right. Right. No, and that was another thing, Jackie and Ann are always so good about letting, scheduling it so the pros go first, which is nice, and because otherwise some of the NPC classes do get rather large, and to have to wait through some of those would be kind of rough.
I
So,
know. I don't like it too. Sometimes um the promoters will switch the program kind of last minute, and they'll have the amateurs on first, and then the pros they're already ready or they were already peaked, and now they're having to wait another 2 or 3 hours.
oh, I've experienced that at the universe. Yes, I know all about that too.
That's no fun.
No, it's not. That's a tough one to accommodate.
Yeah, that's not cool. Yeah, I don't think that's not very considerate to the competitors at all, too. I was wondering if you might be able to provide any advice to ladies who are seeking to earn their pro card. And I know it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, but just in terms of what you did to help you get to that level.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was, having a goal. I mean, this was kind of one of those lifelong goals that, I mean, I honestly wasn't sure I could even do it. But then once you kind of are in it and going, it's like, I'm going to achieve this. I'm in hook, line, and sinker. We're going to make this happen. Um, so yeah, I was just, I think it's just staying motivated and staying focused. And, I even won that pro card that both of them. I won two that at that show. I had just come in that year actually. Prior to that, I had torn my hamstring tendon
Really?
and had surgery to have my tendon tied back onto my. I had a pin put in my pelvis, and it's looped around that now.
Hmm.
But so I mean, I had come back from that and um hernia surgery, both surgeries within like 6 weeks of each other, and hernia surgery, and then that was how my off season. That's how my off season started,
Oh,
and
wow.
then came back from 2 surgeries and just worked hard and stayed focused and dedicated. And I mean, the gym was kind of really, it was almost meditative. It was my outlet. It was like, it was where I kind of healed, and just knew that I was going to get through, and it was a goal, and we were going to do this no matter what. So I think
Mm.
just staying dedicated and focused, and believing in yourself. Our minds are very powerful, and I think if you put your mind to it, it can happen.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That must have been tough to have the two surgeries so close together like that. Yikes.
Yeah, it was, especially the hamstring one was, there's a lot of things you wish you would have done differently.
Oh, I
So
bet it was pretty painful,
none of
right?
it, none of it happened. I will say none of it happened in the gym though. So none of those are gym injuries.
Really?
But,
Oh, okay, yeah.
so just life.
Yeah, I understand. I bet it was painful though, the hamstring injury.
Yeah, it wasn't the most comfortable.
Yeah.
So probably afterwards was almost worse. But yeah,
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
recovery on that one is, a lot of times they don't, depending on where the tear is. If it's muscular, sometimes they don't even do surgery, but mine was actually a tendon avulsion. So the tendon actually snapped from the bone. So they had to
Oh,
they had to reattach it. Um, so
wow.
yeah, that was, wouldn't want to relive that again.
No, I bet.
Actually, and it's still, those are some of the things that, a lot of athletes, I mean, there's probably not one of us out there that hasn't had some sort of injury, that you're compensating for, or trying to work around, or trying to, work with. And I mean, to the, 2 years later, I'm still that, struggle with that leg a little bit, and it's just not quite the same. It doesn't come in quite the same, and you're just, but you learn to accommodate and do the best you can and keep going.
Yeah, no, you're totally right about that too. I think all the competitors have something like that that's just a nagging issue that they work
Yeah,
around. But
yeah,
yeah,
for
I
sure.
admire y'all for doing that too, because I'd be crying, I'd be like, ah.
No, I was I was bummed for a little while.
Oh, I bet. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Um, I always thought an Achilles heel snap would just be the worst thing. I just imagine how painful that would be. Just like,
That
oh,
would be bad too. Yeah. None of
yeah,
them are good.
no. Um, I was going to ask you a few questions about coaching and prep, and I was curious if
Yeah.
do you have a prep coach currently?
Yes, I have a prep coach and opposing coach. They one and the same. So yeah, I've been with him probably 4 years now. So 4 or 5 years.
What's his
So
name?
Darryl Mayfield.
Darryl Mayfield. Oh, very cool. That's great.
Yep.
Also, since you turned pro, basically, or no, since you started competing, or no, well, now it's 20, that would have been 2020 you started working with him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool.
Probably the end of 2019 even. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. Um, so what do you like about him? What makes him a good coach?
Um, for me, where I'm located right now, I mean, I know a lot of people, the availability of coaches is kind of limited, and it just, kind of depends where you are and what's available to you. But he's actually live. I mean, he's not online.
Hmm.
So I can meet with him basically every day, which is a nice benefit to having somebody eyes on you every day, seeing the changes, making the tweaks.
Yeah.
um, Huge benefits, and a lot different. I mean, a lot different than, just photo check-ins and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of them that do it that way and it works well. But I really like the hands-on, and, but if you're not near somebody and have to do the online route, there's nothing wrong with that either. But I'm very fortunate to have somebody live that's good here locally.
Yeah, and you're in the Des Moines metro area, is that right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, very cool. That's great. Yeah, that is good to have a live coach, I think, like that, especially one that you like working with. And
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. For
Um,
sure.
have you worked with an online coach before?
No, I have
No.
not.
Yeah. No, I think I think that's good. I thought like with Omaha with Susan Graham had her coach come and help her in person, Jake Benson. And I think having the coach there in person at a show, I think is good because they can kind of minute by minute kind of see what they need to do to get you peaked just right and stuff, so.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
very helpful. I mean, like when those coaches can come backstage with you and give you last minute, to-dos and don'ts and just run through because there's a lot going through your mind. So it's nice to have somebody there kind of keeping you on track and keeping you focused.
Yeah, almost like kind of reassuring too, I think, because that's
Oh,
you
yeah,
can, you know what I mean? Yeah.
it is. It is. You need that.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but
Um, I was curious, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of prep for you?
you know what? I enjoy prep. I just enjoy all phases of it. I enjoy bulking and just, trying to grow a little and make changes and gaining strength. And then I like the whole show prep process because you finally kind of get to tear away. It's almost like a package reveal, like a present. You got to tear off the wrapping and see what's underneath, what all the hard work was for. So,
Yeah,
and I don't the diet doesn't bother me. I mean, I just, I think I compare bodybuilder diets. I mean, really, they're like what everybody should be doing, honestly, to be healthy, other than probably the last 6 or 8 weeks.
yeah.
um, but for it's like I like the process, and I really like the hard work at the end again to see what you've accomplished and what you've been able to change. So the
Yeah,
diet and the extra time in the gym and added cardio a little bit doesn't bother me. You kind of look forward to it because there's a
that's
point where you just kind of really want to get going. You want to do a show. It's like you're ready. So
that's great. That's great that you feel that way too. And that you like kind of all the aspects of it as well.
right, right. That's
Yeah,
probably why I'm hooked. I think my husband thought I would do the one show and like a bucket list item and be done. And here, 5, 6 years later, I'm still at it.
oh yeah, no, I think you get kind of hooked on it because it
You
is,
do.
yeah, but it's a good thing to be hooked on, I think, because it is pretty healthy lifestyle for the most part.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, totally. Yeah. Up until the heavy dieting part, then, that's maybe not recommended for everybody, but yeah,
yeah,
it's short term and it serves a point. So
yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I admire y'all for doing it too, because I just don't know if I'm a little too lazy to do it myself. So I live vicariously through the ladies, I think.
yeah, that's all right.
Um, I was curious in terms of can you give it any advice to ladies who are looking for a good coach, like what they should be seeking out?
Yeah, one of my big things is I think, again, you really need to, even if they're online coaches, I think it's good to try to meet with them in person once. I mean, personalities, still have to mesh, right?
Yeah,
So I think that's important. And two, I think it's good even to, I mean, no different than getting referrals. I mean, ask, can I speak to a couple of your current clients? I mean, you get a lot of good feedback and, I mean, if it's all up and up and legit, they probably shouldn't have a problem with that. So,
yeah,
I think speaking with other clients who are with that coach is a good thing. But it again, just to do your research and meet with more than one. Just don't meet with one person and be done. I mean, it's do a little research, meet with a few of them, and get a feel for what you like and what you don't like, and that would that would be my safeguard tip.
great. That's really good advice, I think. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, you need to find somebody you can get along with, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah,
That's
you
good
will,
advice.
especially if you're live, you'll be spending a lot of time with them. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got to find somebody to get along with.
right, right.
Yeah. That's good advice though. Um, as we mentioned, I know you live in Des Moines, Iowa area. I was curious, is there a supportive bodybuilding community there where you live?
You know what? It's actually bigger than you'd realize. I mean, I think a lot of people think of, East Coast, South, West Coast, having really, big communities of bodybuilders. I think Midwest is probably lagging in size, but I think they're definitely growing. I mean, even per se, like at our gym, gosh, I mean, there's probably at least a dozen competitors,
Wow.
so are people who have competed. And so that's a pretty good sized community at just one gym in one little suburb.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think it's definitely growing and there's definitely, interest and support for it.
that's great. That's really terrific. Yeah, I wasn't sure about Des Moines because I don't think I've never spoken with the bodybuilder that lives there. So, how big is the metro area there?
Oh gosh, Des Moines and all the suburbs. Hmm, I'm not even sure. I couldn't tell you.
Oh, no, no, that's cool. I was just curious. Yeah. I saw Omaha had about 1 million people, and I kind of liked Omaha. That was it's a nice town.
It is. I actually went to high school there for 3 years.
Oh, you
My
did?
family was military, so my last 3 years of high school were in Omaha.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's a pretty decent city. I like it, and that it's everybody's there now because of the baseball World Series too. So
Yeah.
college
Yep.
baseball. Yeah.
Yep. Huge.
Now I was curious, do you have a coaching business?
I do not. I do meal preps for some of the other competitors on my team. I
Yeah.
help with that, and I do have my coaching, my personal trainer certificate. Um, but I actually have never gotten. I know for certain that I would never want to coach competitors.
Oh, yeah.
I think more of like, your everyday person would probably be more my forte if I ever got into it.
Yeah.
Um, but I think those people there's so many of them that just when you're at the gym you see and it's like, oh, I just oftentimes have to stop myself. I want to go over and help or give a little piece of advice. So I feel like
Sure.
that would be where I would focus if I would take advantage of the fact that I do have my personal training certificate. But at
Okay.
this point, I just haven't done that. I think mostly because I'm there so much already.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be there more and I'd probably have to make that kind of commitment. I'd have to probably quit my current job to, do that full time and not
Yeah.
ready to do that. So
I understand that. Yeah. And that leads me into and you mentioned earlier, but you work in the for the school district. What do you do there?
I am a teacher's associate. So work with teachers and students like on an individual basis more.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very cool. How long have you done that?
Oh, too long. I was only supposed to be while my kids were in that school, but they were long gone. They're in college now.
Uh-huh.
This is a great school. So I've been doing that probably about 13 years.
Very cool. Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
13, 14 years. Yeah. Yeah. For something that was supposed to be probably a 5-year gig, I'm still there.
Oh, that's awesome though. That you obviously like it too.
I do. It's very rewarding. Teachers are super appreciative anymore. Again, they've got so many curriculum changes and so much that they have to squeeze in that
Yeah.
any amount of help that they can get with, students that are maybe struggling or falling behind a little appreciated. And yes, just working with the kids is always rewarding, just know that you're making an impact, a positive one.
Now, what do you get a reaction from the kids and the teachers with your muscles and stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of funny when especially in summer when it's warm here and if I wear something sleeveless, they're like, "Oh my gosh." Especially
Uh-huh.
especially the boys are always in on. And it's kind of fun though. I like it when some of the girls ask me questions and it's like, because it's a good thing to just encourage and let them see, it's like you can, you know, still be still be have muscles and still be a girl,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
Yeah,
you know,
you're still really, feminine too, I think. So yeah, it's good role model for the girls, I bet.
right, right. So yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. No, that's very cool. Um, I was curious, is your husband, is he a bodybuilder too?
No, he's not. He
No?
needs somebody in the wings supporting.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. No, that's cool. But I bet he's really supportive of you.
Yeah, he is. He does a nice job tolerating everything, and yeah, but I try not to do, it is a lifestyle, and you try not to, you try to keep everybody, what I do doesn't have to affect everybody else. You try to keep it as isolated, as it can be, so that, life can be normal for everybody else. But
But you could get hangry though. Ah.
occasionally.
Um, now, we had talked about it before during the brief interview, but in terms of how old are your kids and do they support your bodybuilding career too?
Yeah, I have a junior in college at Texas Tech, and I have one that is actually going to be a freshman this coming fall at Texas Tech as well. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, they're both very supportive. They think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like when we go on vacation, um, you know, Tyler's like, "Oh, mom," it's like because sometimes you get, yeah, you think sometimes, people, it's like you've earned looking like that, mom. Don't, because I'm like, oh, maybe I should. I'm always like, oh, do you want me to wear a little, like a skirt or something? And they're like, mom, you look great. You've earned that. Just,
oh, that's
so
awesome.
they're very supportive. Yeah, and the one that just is going to be a freshman, he always thought it was kind of a hoot. And then when his buddies come over and somebody wants you to flex or arm wrestle or the boys always think that's a hoot.
Yeah, like yeah, you end up on TikTok too doing arm wrestling or something.
Right.
That's so cool that they're so supportive of you though.
Yeah, they are.
You have two boys, is that right?
Yep, that's it.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome though. That yeah. No, I'm glad to hear that. Are your parents still alive too?
Yes, they are. Yep.
What do they think about your bodybuilding career, and are they supportive too?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they're just impressed. I don't think they completely understand the sport or the industry, but yeah, I mean, they see how much time and dedication it takes, and they're proud too.
That's awesome. I was curious if you get your parents and kids to come and root for you at the shows.
You know what? I will honestly say, I haven't encouraged that. I'm kind of one of those. This is kind of first of all, it tends to be kind of a very selfish weekend. And if they're around, I tend to worry a lot about, oh, are they happy? Are they bored? Are they, there's a lot of downtime if you're not competing, right?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so I actually really don't encourage them to come because I find that then I worry about them too much, and that's
Yeah,
just a whole cortisol trickle down thing.
I
Um,
understand.
and it's just kind of a zone that I just kind of like to be. It's something I just kind of do for me,
Yeah,
and
I
granted,
understand
I
that.
mean, they support me all the way and they'll watch videos and pictures and hear about it, but it's sometimes just easier just to go do that on your own.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. It was kind of funny because my daughter was harassing me about going to Omaha, and I was like, well, I knew that she'd be kind of bored probably, and I didn't think she would like being there, so I decided no, I'm not going to take her. And
Right.
I think I'm kind of the same way with going to a show. I'm kind of selfish about that because I'm focusing on the podcast and trying to get interviews and trying to get some content and stuff. So yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, it's hard to be, distracted by somebody else unless they truly are, understand the sport and like, know that they're going to be sent on umpteen errands to the microwave or have to run and get this quick. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. I don't like being in position. So I'd much rather just kind of do all that on my own and not have
Yeah,
to worry about if people are enjoying their time in between shows or not.
I totally understand that. Yeah, no, I got you there. I can relate to that. Yeah, yeah. It was funny how she was harassing me about Omaha, but she honestly had work that weekend anyway and other commitments, so it worked out better for not to bring her.
Right, right.
Um, Now I was curious, and this is just my last few questions, but this is kind of a hypothetical question, but if you were in a leadership position with IFBB, what would you do to improve the sport of bodybuilding and try to make the sport better?
Right now I think the organization and like Tyler Mannion as they are really on the right track, I feel like, as far as realigning um division criteria with judging.
Yeah.
I think that's been kind of there's been, a lot of conversation and about that lately, and how it's kind of become misaligned maybe over the years a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but I think their current initiative right now to try to get that back, synced up and, aligned again. I think they're doing a great job. They're doing what they can. They're getting it out there. Um, and so I feel like they're doing a good job at that. Um, Kudos to them because, we have to, we should be true to the divisions and what the requirements of them.
Hmm. I agree with you on that. And I think that reflects on some of the winners like Sharonica, New York Pro, and Susan at Omaha Pro. And yeah, I totally agree with you on that because I think that's kind of like what women's physique ladies should be looking like,
Right, right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, because otherwise, there's always, I mean, there's just got to be parameters that you follow. Otherwise, things just get pushed into, it just keeps progressing and things just keep getting, you know, I mean, really just bigger and bigger and bigger. Every division has, seen that happen.
Yeah,
So, as far as the size of the women, and what they're looking for. So it's like, it's nice to kind of hopefully, reel that in a little bit.
I agree with you on that. No, I totally agree. And I have seen a change this year. So no, I think that's good. Um, I was curious, do you ever find yourself like the target of fit shaming? Because I was kind of surprised that bodybuilders even have to deal with that, but I think it is maybe jealousy or there's just a lot of nasty trolls out there. But you ever deal with that kind of stuff?
Not too bad. I mean, people will comment, but usually it's in a positive way. They'll say, "Oh, you look great," or they'll be very polite and complimentary.
Hmm.
Um, and and if it tends to go in a little bit more negative direction, I think my always come back is, well, I didn't wake up looking like this.
Hmm. Yeah.
That, I mean, it's a lot of hard work and dedication. It's not, I mean, I wasn't born like this. I didn't wake up like this. It's like it took work, and time. And so, whether they grasp that concept or not, it's whatever. But you do kind of try to clear the air a little bit. It's not like I was just blessed.
Uh-huh. I understand that. No, it is. That's a good point too. It is. It's a lot of hard work and dedication to get to where you are, and that there's the myth about just picking up one weight and you're going to look like Sarah Viegas or whatever. It's just
No,
things
not
like
quite. I wish
that.
that would be that that magic formula.
Yeah, no, I know it's no, it's definitely a lot of work for sure. Um, do you have to? I know you're kind of building your social media following, but do you have to deal with trolls much on social media at all, or?
No, and that's probably, what, that's honestly probably kind of when I don't have at the moment a huge social media presence.
Yeah,
And I think it's because I try to just I try to do me. I don't want, I don't, you don't need the negativity. The people who are supportive, and who matter to me are the people who are near. Um, I guess I just haven't. so I kind of keep myself pretty protected in that way. But
Sure. Yeah.
but I've had several suggestions that I need to up that a little bit.
Oh yeah, probably
Need to
from your kids.
break out of my shell, my my safe zone, and get out there a little bit, but we'll see. I'll work on it.
Since you got the teenagers are close to teen, they're like the social media experts, so they can
Oh
direct
yeah,
you on the
right. I know they could.
show. Um, I just have one more question for you. I was curious if you have any thoughts on how we can get more fans to attend the bodybuilding shows, because Sherry Priami recently mentioned it on one of the interviews she did about, fans need to show up and show out to the shows, but some of them are just too shy to do that,
Yeah.
especially in the US. But I was wondering if you have any ideas about how to get more fans to come and support the women.
I think too, and this is where I do think social media is really good because it actually reaches so many venues and avenues of people, that I mean, that's the best way to get it out there. To promote to gyms and it's always good, but that's kind of a given crowd. I think
Yeah.
to grow your numbers, I mean, you have to reach those ones who never thought about it, who are like, oh, no different than going to the symphony or, something, an event that's somewhere else in your town. I mean, this can be just something to go to, like initially, like even if it's just something to do,
Hmm.
I think if they just knew that that was an option, it's no different than if the rodeo's in town or if the symphony is in town, the bodybuilding show is in town. It's something to do. And I think that's kind of how you grow those numbers and people who wouldn't normally be interested. And that's where just like little kids, that's where that first contact, that's where you spike that interest, that's where, all of a sudden you've got, five people at the show that are like, this is kind of interesting. I wonder if I could do that. So it
Yeah.
is, I think it's promoting, just getting the word out there that it's an current event in town, that's happening. It's not just, not just for the bodybuilder community.
I do think that more local media attention, more local TV news would help, because
Mhm.
and it doesn't get covered very often, I think. It's such a unique kind of thing, I think if the promoters could even get more local TV news to cover the shows, I think would help. One
Right.
thing I think is kind of tough is, just not really much TV coverage anymore. Back when NBC and ESPN had bodybuilding on TV, I think it introduced so many people to the sport
Oh, I
and got them
agree.
intrigued. And I don't
Yeah.
understand why the cable channels, there's so many of them now, and they show like, dart throwing and axe throwing and stuff like that, cornhole, but they don't show
Yeah.
bodybuilding. So I do wish that we could get some more TV contracts and showed more bodybuilding on TV.
Yeah, that would be, I mean, that would be nice as an organization as a whole if they could negotiate some of those, big network contracts again, like they used to have. You know,
Yeah,
I don't, it's too bad those, dissolved and went by the wayside, but yeah, that would be a huge help.
I think so too. I think that would be really good. So yeah. Um, so I just wondered if is there anything I missed that you'd like to address?
I think I'd just like to kind of wrap it up by almost saying like, I do believe that I think bodybuilding is kind of a sport that anybody can take part in. I'm a perfect example. I mean, I kind of, no different than like the non-traditional student. I'm kind of like the non-traditional bodybuilder. I feel like, I had a career and a family, all that first before I even thought about doing this, so and you can still be successful and good at it. I mean, it's never too late to start. I mean, it's literally, and it's something that you can really control. There's not many things we can control in this world, right? But I think, this is something, we're controlling our our bodies and the results, and by putting in the time and the dedication, And then like, and controlling your food and learning healthy habits. I mean, these are things that we can actually control. And I mean, it's for everybody, So it doesn't matter at what phase in life you are. I mean, it's maybe you'll do it, when you're younger and get sponsorships, or maybe you'll do it as a challenge, or maybe you'll do it as a bucket list item, or maybe, again, like me, I started this much later in life, after, like I said, I had kids and career and all that, and finally got to a point when, you had the time to dedicate to it. But it's never too late. So, I
I love
think
that.
it's
That's great. I think that's good advice for folks who are considering it or hadn't considered it, but maybe would look into it. Yeah, I think that's great advice.
so
Thank
I've
you.
enjoyed it. It's a good community to be involved with.
Yeah, and you've done a great job too. You look great.
Well, thank you.
So would you mind doing a quick double bicep flex for me?
Oh, for sure. I gotta match that. I gotta match that thing behind you.
Oh yeah, got
Yeah.
my logo back there. Yeah, thank
Yes.
you. Wow, thank you. Yeah, you look terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'll try to get this posted soon. It might be tomorrow morning, but I'll definitely tag you when I get it posted.
Great.
And in terms of social media, this will give you like the FBB forum bump, get the
Yeah,
yeah.
seriously. Yeah, no, I need to ride this momentum now, right?
I know, that's right. Definitely. Yeah.
I think I need to find somebody to manage my account for me. That's what I need.
Oh, just pay one of your sons, just
Right,
take care of it for
exactly.
you. Yeah. But thank you so much, Stacy. It's really nice speaking with you and I appreciate your time.
Oh, well, thank you very much, David. I enjoyed it too. It's always good visiting with you.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.